Good morning, and welcome back to Astro Beauty, where makeup and astrology come together to help us get through life. Today, I'm doing a video on the moon in Libra, and I want to talk about Libra in general, the moon in Libra, how the moon in Libra will impact people with Libra ascendants, moon in Libra or strong Libra planets, and also how the Virgo new moon is impacting all of you strong Libras. I also am going to put together a little Libra makeup look. I'm going to dress up as Libra while the moon is in Libra so that I can be on my best Libra vibe and maneuver the energies in the most optimal way this Libra moon phase. So let's get started. So kind of like I was talking about with Mercury in my Virgo video, being a co-ruler of both Gemini and Virgo, Venus is the co-ruler of Taurus and Libra. And so, the way that she expresses through both of those signs is, the same qualities, the same characteristics, but it's also very different through the different expressions of the energy. Taurus is a much more like form building energy, in my opinion. It's like when Venus is in Taurus, like the Taurus aspect of Venus is kind of like it creates beauty in everything it does. Where to me, the Libra aspect of beauty is more of like Libra is an air sign, whereas Taurus is an earth sign. So to me, the Libra aspect of things is kind of like it's like knowing how to be beautiful, as opposed to Taurus is kind of like building beauty into expressing it in form or creating it. Libra to me is just like on a more cognitive, like cerebral level, because it's an air sign, just knowing what beauty is and knowing what value is and trying to align with that. And Libra, it's a sign of the scales, it's all about trying to create balance and trying to bring, kind of like a sense of like justice or just like evening out things that there is kind of like an excess and bringing it to, the beautiful, fine, balanced conception in Libra because it's air. I feel like a lot of times people with a lot of Libra energy like really understand the meaning of value, and whether it be, in terms of their physical appearance or in terms of, their resources or just their material possessions, I feel like they always know how to align just naturally with the finer things. It's like they just have an inborn sense of knowing what is valuable, what is nice, what is fine. And a lot of times, kind of, Virgo is very polished and refined too, but kind of in a different way. To me, Libras, they're always, a lot of Libra people that I know are very like stylish, like they are always on top of the latest trends. They keep their environment and stuff like very tidy and very like together. They have really nice things, and they generally value like the more expensive, more quality goods and products and ways of expressing themselves in the world. But since this is also a makeup channel, before I get any further, let me start talking about what I want to do for my makeup look today, taking into consideration that we are on the Venus train for the next couple days while the moon is in Libra, which means that it's time to embrace our femininity. When the moon is in Libra every month, like I said, I like to go super girly, super like fancy, and just kind of feel like just a little bit like extra feminine. And I like to use like a lot of pinks and stuff during this time and like sparkles. I like to wear my diamond earrings when the moon is in Libra and just kind of really play up the feminine qualities and really just be, I don't know, girly. I love when the moon is in Libra because I can wear all my prettiest clothes. And also Taurus. I do that for Taurus too. So today I'm just wearing this like light pink little jumper thing for Venus. And also because we just had the new moon in Virgo, I picked a bunch of flowers because Mercury represents like lots of little small things, and flowers are kind of like a Virgo thing. So it just all goes together. I don't know. I'm weird, but that's what's happening. I have the Libra and the Virgo new moon combined in one episode. So let's do the makeup. Okay, so for my super girly Libra look today, I'm using 3 different palettes, unless I decide to use more. The first color I'm going to do is from this Beachy Punk Pacifica palette. I have all of Pacifica's palettes so far. Actually, they just came out with a new one like yesterday or the day before, and I need it now. Maybe after this weekend, you'll see me. Maybe next time you'll see me, I'll have it. But anyways, this is probably the one that I use the least, although just because it's like a pretty bold colors in it, but I do really like all of them. And today I'm going to use this light pink color for like my base coat. And then I'm going to use this Punk Princess palette from 100% Pure. And I'm actually going to use this blush as my crease color today because I don't have like a really like a matte pink color in, or like I just wanted something that shade and I don't have an eyeshadow that color. So I'm just going to use that blush. And then, of course, because the moon is in Libra, especially Barbie, I'm going to use this Pure by Barbie palette, and I'm going to use this light pink kind of shimmery color right here, all over the lid. Yes. And then I'm going to put this pink shimmer sparkle just over the top. And then I'll probably do a black liner and mascara. Yay! So that's my plan to make my pink Venus Libra eye look. So let's start. I'm just going to go into this light pink color from the Beachy Punk palette and just dust it all over my lid. Oh, you know what? I did it again. I forgot to put my primer on. I do that so much. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to wipe this off now. And I'm going to do my eyeshadow primer. This is from the All Natural Face. I really like this stuff. I've never used any other eyeshadow primer, so I don't really have much of like a comparison range, but I don't have a problem with this one. Maybe there's others that are better, but this one seems pretty good. Alright, so while I'm doing this, let's talk about astrology for a second until I have to talk about makeup again. So, okay. When the moon is in Libra, as it is when I put this video out, it's not actually in Libra right now, but it will be. So now I'm primed. All right, so when the moon goes into Libra every month, it goes into every sign every month. I'm gonna do this pink color. And when that happens, it's always different depending on what aspects or kind of like communications Venus's electromagnetic body is having with all of the other planets, where they're resonating from and how those frequencies are interacting with each other. And then therefore how that's interacting with us collectively on our planet and also within the individual energy bodies of us as individuals, depending on how our particular energy patterns are aligned. And this month, there's a lot going on with Venus. And I'm going to talk about Venus because Venus is the ruler of Libra, where the moon is. So that is what we talk about when the moon is in Libra. And we can also talk about the aspects that the moon will be making while it's there. But I want to start by talking about what's going on with Venus while the moon is in Libra. And it's kind of a lot. And it's pretty significant. Mainly because this body, it's not an actual planet, but it's widely studied in astrology, and it's called the Black Moon, is going to be in exact opposition with Venus when the moon is in Libra. And so when we talk about where this will be happening for you who are ascendants in Libra, it will make things a little more clear for you. But generally, when Venus opposes the Black Moon, and it's going to be happening collectively, so it happens in everybody's chart, it's kind of like, because the Black Moon kind of represents the shadow side of our psyche, like what we aren't necessarily aware is holding us back. Kind of like our subconscious beliefs that were programmed into us at some point in time that prevent, that keep us trapped without us maybe even knowing, in kind of like a state of acting out certain patterns over and over again, and dealing with like maybe like the same type of situations over and over again until we can realize what is actually causing those subconscious drives, and learn to kind of like embrace that aspect of ourselves and fully integrate it into our personalities and, you know, who we are. And then we can, you know, once we do that, then we can use that as sort of a strength. But a lot of times it kind of plays out subconsciously, and it's like the darker shadow side of ourself that kind of like subconsciously controls a lot of our behavior patterns that we don't necessarily like want to look at, want to think about, or want to bring forward so that we can like deal with them, okay? All right, so I've done just my little base coat. Now I'm gonna do my crease with this color. So, and Venus, like I said, is what we like, what's pleasant, what we do want to like show off and talk about, and you know what our interests are, what we find desirable, what we find to be beautiful, what we like, you know? And so for that to be making an exact opposition with the Black Moon this week when the moon goes into Libra, that kind of creates a dynamic of being forced to kind of look at what we don't like about ourselves, our shadow side, in juxtaposition to what we do like. Because they're oppositions, they're kind of like reflecting and bouncing off of each other, the energies. Like they're seeing each other, you know? Like they're in full view of each other, the Black Moon and Venus. And Venus also rules money and like the markets and stuff like that. And the Black Moon is the shadow side, you know? Like kind of the collective like fear, subconscious like trauma response, I guess maybe you could say. And so during this time, it's kind of like our subconscious fears are kind of being balanced off, Libra, against, you know, what we do like, what we do want to express, like what we do appreciate, what we do value. And all right, I'm going to take this around my whole eye too. It's pretty. So yeah, with Venus and the black moon, like exactly looking at each other and kind of like seeing what each other has going on, it's kind of like, to me, feels like in a way kind of a general, like, maybe like looking or being able to see our fears or like, you know, the traumas, shadows, whatever, juxtaposed to how we would like things to be and to what we want in different ways in different areas of life, depending on, you know, where this energy happens to be falling for all of us and also collectively. All right. That's just like really subtle and like nice, not too bright. And now I'm going to do the whole Barbie thing. I'm going to use the light color, this one. And so, I mean, the opposition with Venus and the black moon happens once a year, and we have it this week. And that's not all that's going on with Venus. As this happens, she is also making a square to Jupiter, which squares create changes, and Jupiter kind of expands things and makes them bigger. Jupiter is, there's a lot of aspects of Jupiter, but generally it tends to be one of the more beneficial planets, and even in a square with Jupiter may not have like the same type of impact as like a square with maybe like Saturn or Mars. But it's also in square to the black moon, right? So we have Venus at, I think it's 13 Virgo, opposite the black moon, 13 or 14, at the same 13 or 14 Pisces, and then square to Jupiter at 15, I think it's 15 Sagittarius. And so there's kind of like an expansion of these energies of the Venus and the black moon, kind of what we fear and what we like, kind of like trying to balance out between each other. And then there's the expansion of Jupiter coming from Sagittarius that is trying to expand the energy and create changes, you know, maybe to help us kind of look at what we don't like and figure out maybe now it's time to look at what we don't like and to kind of start the process of integrating it so that we can make changes, you know, the square to Jupiter expanding the energy. But that's not all. No, that's not all. We also have Saturn in the mix, and Saturn brings structure to things, and it also kind of like puts pressure on things, and it represents kind of like more of a sense of like duty and obligation towards things. That is just so pretty. I love the Barbie makeup. You know what? I think I'm going to take a tiny bit of this hot pink right here in the shade Barbie, and I'm going to just put it like right above my lash line with this little brush. So with Saturn there too, it's kind of like not only do we need to this week sort of like look at the things maybe we don't like about ourselves or certain situations, kind of like face them to figure out how to realign Libra, Moon in Libra, to try to figure out how to like rebalance Moon in Libra, our preferences with what holds us back
you know? And Jupiter is expanding that and facilitating, like wanting it to create changes with the square. And then Saturn is in a trine, which is like an aspect of ease and facilitation, sort of. So Saturn in this situation seems like it's actually helping us a little bit because there's like a need to do this. We're fighting over popsicles. So we have Saturn there kind of like pushing us and like creating like a sense of duty and obligation. And you have to remember also, like in the greater scheme of things right now, Saturn is part of that situation with Pluto and the South Node that's going on in Capricorn that is just fundamentally transforming and changing all types of long-standing structures and clearing out all types of past like issues and like karma or whatever with the South Node, and Pluto, purging things, and Saturn transforming and restructuring things. And then when you add that whole like dynamic of things, like maybe the changes that are happening in the fact that like maybe this Venus black moon opposition while the moon is in Libra right now is like a necessary aspect of facing our shadow sides, like the things that create our subconscious patterns that hold us back in life and keep us from fully becoming our versions of like beautiful and making us truly value ourselves. Venus, Black Moon, as a part of bringing us to that culmination point in January where Saturn and Pluto conjoin in Capricorn and the North Node, South Node whole dynamic there. Like maybe this Venus black moon and the with Jupiter there kind of like trying to trying to help us expand and create changes to free ourselves from the trauma and help us balance and align more with our what we value and what we desire and what we like and what we find beautiful. And then Saturn kind of like making it an obligation, like making it a duty as part of the whole Saturn Pluto grand purge transformation dynamic that's coming up in January. So yeah, I guess maybe this is kind of like a big week and big energy with the whole Libra situation going on. Now I'm going to put on more eyeshadow. And I'm going to, oh, it looks so pretty. I haven't obviously got the greatest light yet, so you can't see it for what it truly is, but it's so pretty. I'm going to like spritz my little brush, and then I'm going to use this, like, it's like a foily pink color, and I'm just going to put it right over my lid. Actually, you know what? I wonder if I just use my finger. Let's see. Wow, do you see that? Look how shiny that is. It's so pretty. Yeah, this is good. So we have like, I guess this is probably a pretty big week, considering all of those dynamics that I just talked about. Now let's talk about if you are a Libra ascendant. Yeah. Gorge. Gorge. Let's talk about if you are a Libra ascendant and all of this is happening in like your first house or close to your ascendant, what that might be like for you this week based on your house placement. So if you are an ascendant in Libra, and I actually have a few people in my life who are Libra ascendants, so I can kind of watch this and see how it goes for them. But first of all, that put the new moon in Virgo, and most likely either your 11th or 12th house, depending on what degree exactly you ascend at. If you ascend earlier in the sign of Libra, like within the first half of the sign, you are likely to have had the new moon happen in your 12th house. Whereas if you ascend later in the sign, the second part, maybe like beyond like 15, 16, 17 degrees or whatever, you are likely that this is going on in your 11th house. And the 12th house is associated with the sign of Pisces, and it's the last sign, and it kind of is where we connect to like our higher self and our more subconscious realms and our imagination, like the dream world. It's kind of like very playful and very like fluid sort of, and not quite so defined, and it's kind of like leisure, where we let our mind wander, stuff like that. So if the new moon, as a Libra ascendant, if the new moon in Virgo did happen in your 12th house, then it's kind of likely that this month you might, I'm going to use my 100% pure green tea, black tea liquid liner. If it did happen in your 12th house, then you might, for the next month, that's a lot of planets in Virgo in the 12th. We're talking the sun and the moon, obviously, because it was the new moon. And then we're also talking about, and I'm just putting this like right over my lash line, the sun and the moon, and we're also talking about Mars, which at the time of the new moon is in a close conjunction with the new moon, and Mercury is there, and also your ruling planet, Venus, is also in Virgo. And like I said, if it'll be in your 11th or 12th house. Now, with all of these planets in your 12th house, honestly, you may feel like a need to just be kind of like secluded and kind of just like retreat or like into your own space, into your own, mind, sort of, your own like dream world for a period. Or you may like kind of just feel withdrawn during this period with all of these planets in your 12th house. And that's totally fine. And if that is the case, you should allow yourself to do that and not force yourself to be, a lot of times Libras are always like a part of the goings on, always like out and about doing stuff with people because it is that air sign, and it does like to, it rules the 7th house of other people. Like it does like to connect with others and be around others. And so with all that energy and your ruler in the 12th house, like maybe during this time you kind of just want to like be alone, and you should totally allow yourself, if that's the case, to let that be something that you do during this time. Also, like maybe engaging in like creative activities that are just for you, that you just like do because you enjoy it. Like, if you like to paint or draw or write or do anything creative that's kind of something that you can do alone. Like makeup. That might be a good way to kind of deal with it. And, with Mars there, it might be like kind of an intense drive to like seclusion for this month, which is totally okay because, like I said, we also have that dynamic going on with the Venus and the Black Moon opposition, especially this week, and the Jupiter and the Saturn that play into that, of kind of like looking at ourselves and sizing ourselves up and looking at what we need to do and what we need to change to become who we want to become, to really like embody our Venus. That's what I would say for you if this energy is playing out in your 12th house. If you ascend in a later degree of Libra and it's playing out for you, okay, let me pause. I am done with my eye look now. I need to curl my lashes and apply my mascara, and I'll be right back. So I have my lashes curled, and now I'm just going to do my mascara because I'm almost done and I have a lot left to say, so I figure I might as well talk and do this. I'm going to use this Fruit Pigmented Black Tea Mascara from 100% Pure on my bottom lashes, and then I'm going to use the Lash Paradise on my top lashes just because I want a more, like, big eyelashes today. Not so much just, like, long and, like, beautiful, sleek, like I did the other day for Virgo, but I want, like, a more full look for Libra. So, anyways, as I was saying, I don't even know if you guys can see me doing this. If you have, if you're an ascendant in Virgo in the later degrees, then that means instead of the new moon having happened in your 11th house or in your 12th house, that means it happened in your 11th house, which is a very different, almost kind of like the opposite energy of what we have in the 12th house, because the 11th house is associated with the sign of Aquarius. It's all about like kind of contributing to the better purpose of the group. And it's about like the 11th house is about like being a part of big groups and organizations and, you know, social causes and like being around like kind of a lot of people. And it's also associated with sort of like our hopes, wishes, and dreams and stuff like that. I'm gonna let this dry for just a second and put a tiny bit of foundation under my lash line before I do my top lashes, because I don't want it to like dot all over where I did my makeup while I'm waiting. So in the 11th house, if you had the new moon there and you have your ruling planet Venus and the Mars conjunction with the new moon and all of that, then as opposed to the 12th house where you might have like an intense drive towards like seclusion and meditation and kind of like introspection and stuff, with it happening in the 11th house, it's very different. You might actually have like a drive to be like out more and maybe be a part of more groups and more like around more people and contributing to more causes and just kind of being like trying to make things happen for yourself, trying to take action and be around the type of people that are more going to align you with your hopes, wishes, and dreams, you know, because it's the 11th house energy and it's totally different from wanting to be secluded. So those of you that are in the later degrees of Libra, all right, now I'm going to do my top mascara. Those of you that are in the later degrees of Libra might find yourselves actually out, like I said, out and about more, having an interest or a desire to be more maybe social or more a part of various causes and organizations. And so that is, like I said, like a totally different vibe, an expression of the same energy, depending on what area of your life is being hit with the frequencies. Or not like necessarily area of your life, but your energy bodies that contribute to ways that you do life in that particular area. That's more what I'm talking about. Yay. So now I'm going to do my blush and my highlight, and then I am pretty much done. Oh, I gotta do lips too. I'm gonna use this 100% pure. It's a Pot Rouge in the color Posy. I really love this. I used it for my try on the other day, and it was super beautiful. I'm gonna use this. I have a little foundation brush that I use. So I'm just gonna go into this with my little e.l.f. foundation brush and pat it right on my cheeks. I love this. So that's what you can expect from the new moon if you are an ascendant in Libra. Now, aside from that, with the moon in Libra this month, when the moon goes through your sign or through your first house and crosses your ascendant, then let's take a look real quick at what areas of your life might possibly be affected by the transits that are going on with Libra, or I mean with Venus during that time. And also, like, generally, every time the moon goes into Libra each month, every time it goes into all of the cardinal signs, Libra, Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer, it's going to kind of like come to one of the degrees that kind of like is a trigger point for the Saturn Pluto situation that we have going on. And because those are both in Capricorn, when the moon goes through Libra in your first house, it is going to come to a square with Saturn. So those might be a few days that are kind of a little rocky just because the moon is there triggering some of the preliminary changes that happen every month when the moon goes through all four of the cardinal signs that are kind of like driving and pushing us towards that conjunction that's coming in January. It's kind of like there's just constantly all of these little incremental changes going on that are going to bring us to the final like culmination point that happens January 2020 with that conjunction. And then we will be kind of like refined and purged and cleared out and brought to like a higher version of ourselves kind of collectively so that we can move forward and create a different type of reality going forward after that. And we'll have to see what that looks like as we get a little closer, because honestly, I don't have time to look that far out right now. But I do absolutely love this cream blush from 100% Pure. It goes on so nice, and it's so pigmented. And these colors are 100% fruit pigmented, which I really love. It's so beautiful. So, yeah, like, while we have these big planets in Capricorn, while the moon is going through your first house each month, going through your sign, you might notice that there's just a couple days where things happen that kind of make you feel like a little, tense or something, or you can kind of tell that they're like triggering different types of transformations or changes in your life. So that is coming up with, and it's your personality because it's in your first house. It's like who you are, like externally, like how you present to the world, like how you do life, sort of like that, like the person that you like project and are walking around out there. And so when that happens, like this might cause you to think about maybe changes in how you do life a little bit. So that's what's going on with the moon as it goes through your sign. And there's more, but I just really don't have time to do all of that right now. Oh, I did the wrong order. I usually do my under eye first, but I did my blush first. But I guess that might just mean I need to use more blush, but I'm just going to go ahead and do my under eye real quick now. Can't believe I forgot that. So that's basically what the moon is doing as it goes through your sign. Now let's talk about the placements of the placement of Venus, and therefore how, like, what areas of life you are likely to encounter your changes that are going on this next week. So if you were born in the earlier degrees of Libra, as a Libra ascendant, then that puts the Jupiter, the square to Jupiter, and Jupiter sitting in your, sorry, I'm looking now because I have it written down there, sitting in your third house. And if you are born in the later degrees of Libra, then it puts it, Jupiter sitting in your second house. So let's talk about that real quick because I'm almost done. But Jupiter, the third house is associated with kind of Gemini. It's like, in a nutshell, like how we communicate. And the second house is associated with Taurus, and it's in a nutshell where we get our security and like how we build our security, what we value. So so we know that Venus, your ruling planet, if you're an early ascendant in Libra, is in the 12th, and then the black moon is in your 6th house of, service and work and kind of like habits. You have Jupiter falling into your 3rd house, which is expanding your ability to communicate, okay? And then you have Saturn falling into the 4th house, which is ruled by Cancer, and kind of symbolizes the root of things, like the home, like the nurturing. It kind of resonates to like the mother, and basically just like the security and the nurturing and the roots where you come from. So with Saturn in the 4th, Jupiter in the 3rd, and then having the black moon and the Venus polarity in the 12th and in the 6th, it's kind of like what you need right now is to be sort of introspective, kind of like in with yourself, like kind of secluded, as you kind of examine the shadow side of how you kind of go about, your daily life activities, the 6th house, like how you're of service to others. And then when we talk about Jupiter coming from the 3rd house, it's trying to expand your ability to communicate things in order to create those changes. Like maybe you need to communicate more clearly with people in order to kind of tone down your 6th house, like the service that you provide to others at this time. And you figure that out through your introspection and your seclusion with Venus in the 12th. And then remember that we have this trine to Saturn, which is in your 4th house of your roots, home, family, all of that type of stuff. So simultaneously, there's a sense of like duty, obligation, and like structure around 4th house, family, home, roots, nurturing type things. But this is supportive, and all of these energetics are trying to basically cause you to transform into a more authentic, pure version, less shadow dominated version of yourself. So that is if you're an ascendant in the early degrees of Libra. If you're a later degree ascendant in Libra, then like I said, the opposition is falling Venus in your 11th, the black moon in your 5th, and the 11th and 5th, that's like, the 5th is like creativity and fun, like what we do for fun. And the 11th is kind of like more of like the social duty, like social causes, like being a part of groups, and also the whole like wishes, hopes, and dreams type thing. So with Venus in the 11th, you're definitely finding, like looking for what you like in terms of like being a part of something bigger than yourself. And at this time with the black moon in the 5th, the shadow, kind of like the subconscious way that you It's like also like self-expression, like express yourself, or like what you've created, or like also it kind of has to do with children. Like there might be kind of like a shadow side that you have to face in regards to your creations, like what you've created. So that is the Venus and the Black Moon opposition. And okay, I'm going to do a little highlight right now. I'm going to use this Barbie highlight palette, which I absolutely love. And I'm just going to use this middle pink right here. Yeah, so you might need to kind of like face how your shadow at this point with it in the 5th plays out in terms of your creation. So yes, now I'm just going to go, actually, I am going to use this Punk Princess. Use just a tiny bit more blush first. And so, yes, if you're born in the later degrees of Libra with an ascendant, then that puts it into your 11th and your 5th, which I kind of said, you know, it's like you're looking for groups, organizations, kind of a cause bigger than yourself to kind of align your value to, while you are kind of like looking at maybe the shadow side of like things that you've created, the 5th house. I'm going to use just a little bit of this luminizer right here for the rest of my highlight. And so the energies for you then would put Jupiter in your 2nd house of really what you value. It's a house associated with Taurus. So also ruled by Venus. And then, so that's kind of like, I guess like an expansion in sort of what you value that's causing changes in your groups that you're associated with, and also making you look at things that maybe you've created before and haven't really wanted to. And then Saturn for you is going to be falling in your 3rd house of communication. So maybe there's something about the way that you communicate that you need to kind of like reform and restructure and transform in order to bring you up to that higher level. So for you, if you're a later ascendant in Libra, it's really about the 11th and the 5th house dynamic with Venus in the Black Moon, and also about what you value in the 2nd house kind of being expanded and that kind of leading to changes for you, and also it being sort of like fundamentally driven by a need to change the way that you possibly communicate generally. So that is if you are an ascendant in Libra in the earlier or in the later degrees. Now, generally, let's just talk real quick. If you have your moon in Libra while the moon goes into Libra, and I'm pretty much done with my makeup. I'm just going to line my lips real quick. I'm going to use this Essence pink pencil, and it's called Cute Pink. And so if your moon is there, then that means it's your monthly moon return. And with the things that are going on with Venus this month, and since it's your emotional body that's being impacted, maybe kind of just like try not to be too critical and hard on yourself. You may be a little extra emotional because it is kind of about like sizing ourselves up sort of and looking at where we're at compared to like where we want to be. And this might be more of an emotional week for you as the moon conjuncts your moon and has its return in your natal chart. And then, okay, so today for my lips, I really just want to use this 100% pure gemmed lip gloss in rose quartz. But, you know, it's a gloss, so it's pretty clear. So I'm going to first kind of like cover my lips in this priming pencil, just so there's like a nice bright base layer for it to lay on top of. So if your sun is there, or you have like a stellium and a lot of planets in Libra, then as the moon goes through Libra, there you might notice, you know, kind of like a bit of an emotional charge to your energy body. And you may just be experiencing kind of like, you know, as the moon goes through your sign, kind of some more like emotional like challenges, or just like a heightened kind of emotional state as the moon, which resonates to like our internal thought processes and our emotions and stuff, kind of hits off on the signs that are, you know, very strong in your energy dynamic. See, this is just like a priming pencil. Now my lips are just like white. And I'm going to put this right over it. I'm gonna have to put a lip color down because that literally did nothing for the prime. This is not exactly going how I thought. So let me grab. Hi everyone. Do you like my chalk? I'm gonna grab a lip color and I'll be right back. So I just did like a really kind of just like matte pink lip crayon from Burt's Bees, and now I'm gonna put this over the top. That's better. Yay. So, yeah, with the sun or a stellium in Libra, as the moon goes through, we already talked about, you know, what's going on with Venus. And the moon, like I said, it might be like a little bit more of an emotional time of the month for you as the moon transits through your sign, especially if you have a lot of planets there. I know, for example, I am an Aquarius and I have a lot of planets in Aquarius, and there will be periods of time where when the moon goes through my sign every month, it's just like, oh, the moon is an Aquarius. That's why I feel like a puddle. Yes. So that's my basic rundown for today for all you Libras out there, and about the Libra moon and kind of the dynamic that the Libra moon is bringing to us this month in kind of like the greater scheme of things in terms of what else we have going on and that's leading up to the conjunction in January of 2020. And this is my Libra makeup look for today. I used a few different pinks. I used a pink from my Beachy Punk palette, the lighter color right here. I used three colors from my Barbie palette. I used the lighter pink color across my lid. I used the Barbie pink just along my lash line, and I used the shimmer sparkly pink, kind of tapped it over my lid. And I also used the blush color from my Punk Princess palette in the crease. And then for my blush today, I did a little bit of the cream rouge from 100% Pure in the color Posy. And then I put a little bit of this Physicians Formula Super BB blush right here, just over it. And then I used my gem lip gloss, and this is what we have. So I'm going to finish putting my whole look together, put my earrings and stuff in, and then I'll be back. Hey guys, so here I am in my full Libra glory for today. I tried to put a look together that was super feminine, kind of fancy, and just generally makes me feel good because Venus is all about what we like. And so that's what my whole vibe is for today. I did tons of pink on my eyes, pink on my cheeks, pink on my lips. I went into 100% Pure. I went into the Barbie by Pure palette. Of course I did Pacifica, and it is making me very happy for today. In terms of the astrology, it's a big week, I feel like, in terms of the ultimate like progression with the moon going into Libra and the aspects that Venus is making this week, specifically the opposition to the black moon with a square to Jupiter and a trine from Saturn. So those are the big energies that are underway. I hope that you enjoyed my moon in Libra look, and I will see you next time for the moon in Scorpio. Have a good day. Astro Beauty out.